there are actors who know that just that good looks are not going to take them. They want to know how short or long my dress is. And I'm like, why are you guys sitting in a boardroom like making decisions on what clothes I'll wear?
Anurag and Nawaz were sitting with you, reading through lines. Then he took your paper.
I think he was teaching me acting 101 at that point. I was working with Saif. He's got that thing. He would build and build and build. And I went through a lot. I went therapies. तुमको 40 टाइप का मशरूम पता है, तुम्हारा अंदर क्या चल रहा है पता नहीं है. What the hell, dude? We have to take that heavy bag of stories that we tell ourselves, place it down, and continue with the journey ahead, boss. And I'll tell you this: growth is uncomfortable. You should be okay with that. I don't know if that makes sense.
It all makes sense.
I think it makes too much sense. You know when you're going off tune. Till you learn, you will go ding dong.
Taking notes, you will go ding dong. Garibi of
I'm
the
like
mind.
that.
Ding dong theory.
I'm telling
patented.
you. We've never met. We've never spoken. Do you feel I felt like catching up with you instantly?
This is a conversation with Cobra Seth. She's an actor, author, and MC, popularly known for her role of Cuckoo in Sacred Games and the series Foundation, along with supporting roles in movies like Gully Boy, Ready, and Sultan. She's also the author of the book Open Book. In this conversation, we talk about her approach to life, the philosophy of being a jack of all trades and the master of many in her case, how she juggles so many skills so well. We cover what it takes to become a good MC, what is her preparation process. We also cover her approach to acting, what went on behind the scenes in the making of Cuckoo in Sacred Games. And then we also cover her book and how she healed from difficult moments of her past. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's no time.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
In the poem Song of Myself, Walt Whitman says, I am large, I contain multitudes, which I think perfectly applies to the big one, the large one, because you also contain multitudes. You wear many hats. You started off as an MC. You've sold cookies in a mall in Sharjah. You worked as a sales coordinator at the 12th largest IT distributor in the Middle East. Not first, not second, 12th. Some people living the dream, I say. You worked as an accountant at Microsoft. You're an actor. You worked in OTT, films, into scuba diving, calligraphy. You're an author as well. So to start off, I just want to know, kahan se aata hai ye sab? Because when Roshan Abbas came on the show, he described himself a slasher by profession. He's a director slash radio jockey slash storyteller. And you are the perfect definition of this multi-hyphenate individual. So I just want to know, where does this vision in life, this urge to do so many things, where does it come from? Where does it start? Do people have to be born this way or does it develop later in life?
And to be honest, I think I'm still figuring it out. But what I do know is that I don't necessarily thrive in comfort. Like when I get too comfortable with something, then it starts poking me. Like it's like a stone in my shoe or something, like a pebble in my shoe.
You were
It starts
born this way?
bugging me. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's a great question, honestly, because I feel like it's actually deeper than what I thought I would answer to this question, right? Like, because I feel like, think of it, and I changed like 4 schools, like just growing up, or 5 schools. So it was like, oh, this hurts, so let's just change it. It's not like I was not asked to like stay there and stick it through and things like that, but it was easier to change. And I think change came to me naturally. So I don't think I was born this way, but I think society kind of starts shaping you this way in certain... And then there's another side of me, which is like, see it through, no matter what. But I feel like when I get complacent or comfortable, like I remember going to Roshan Abbas, who is not a mentor just to me. Like he's my Roshba. Like he's everyone's Abba, right? And I went to him and I said, Roshba, I am thriving as a host in this city. Like, come on. Like I was hosting all the big shows and winning awards and things like that and being pretty like good at what I do in the space that I was in. But I was opening the door to my house randomly and saying, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, to my cats. And I really thought that was disturbing.
Method acting.
No, but I wasn't like even exploring acting, right? Like it hadn't happened to me at this point, but I was traveling the world. I was on the plane, like I was living life vicariously, right? And it's a lot to like soak in, but it's also quite nomadic and it's great. Like I really enjoyed that entire phase of my career because I felt I chose that career. But I needed to do something different. When I spoke to Roshan Abbas is when he said, have you thought of storytelling? And that's how I started going internal for the first time through creativity. And then acting happened. Then the curiosity even for acting started to build. So I feel like when I haven't been happy in a construct, or I feel this is too comfortable, or if I can't justify why I'm there. Like I remember having a job in a production house and I don't regret it because I felt that job's contribution to my life was a driver's license in Dubai.
Which is tough to get.
Which is very tough to get. Like how do you have a job that encourages you to go during job hours and learn how to drive?
It's a big achievement.
It's a huge achievement, right? You know what I mean?
Belhassa Driving Institute. Thank you.
Yeah, and imagine I have cried in the same institute because they didn't give me my driving license like the 4th time.
It's a common thing.
And I started crying, boss, like howling. Like I was breathless on the floor. And they took me to Sara Belhassa's office.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because they saw this really crazy person crying. Because she didn't get her driver's license. I don't have money. It's very expensive.
We have the same story.
You cried too?
I had a full fighting match. But they didn't take me to Sara Belhassa. They
took me. I was leading.
Taken to one of the...
And she's amazing. She was very kind. And then she understood that it's okay. Like, this is how much we can train you, maybe. After this, you have to own your mistakes. Like, please.
I know a lost cause when I see one.
So bad you are. It was such a deep question.
That's right.
Did you get the answer to it though?
Yeah, I actually do have follow-up questions for you. But by the way, मुझे बोला गया था, they failed me. And then मुझे बोला गया था, I was arguing with him, why did you fail me? You know, sometimes they just fail you. ऐसे mood नहीं हो रहा है and all. And then he told me कि ठीक है मैं तुम्हें अभी पास कर दूंगा because you're fighting with me. But जब तुम 8 बार fail होके आओगे, तब तुम मुझे मिलना. I was like, why? I don't need this kind of motivation. Anyway, back to the question. When you talk about having this pebble in your shoe every time you get comfortable in a construct, I'd asked Roshan Abbas this question as well. Because I often struggle with this. I'm nowhere close to the level you guys are at. But every single time when you try to do different things, this question pops in your mind कि अगर मैंने अपनी सारी energy, all this effort I put into one thing, then I can reach somewhere good, maybe even great, right? Because I'm putting those 10,000 hours in. Everything's focused. I'm obsessed with this one thing, the craft. Maybe I can leave some kind of a legacy behind. But if I keep distributing it, I only have limited time as a currency, effort as a currency, then probably I'll have a hand in many places, but maybe not have the time to get to somewhere good. Is this something you think about? Is this a challenge?
As far as you're connecting the dots as you go along, I think it's not a challenge. Like I do find it hard, right? Like sometimes if I'm like in a situation where I need to read a contract and also a script. But these are two different like faculties that I need to involve. But if I'm reading a script, writing a stand-up piece, writing a story, watching a play, learning a play, you understand what I mean? Like
Different
I think,
zones you have to be in, right?
Yeah. So then I'm creatively flowing in different directions. And somehow I feel like that's what I've been able to do. And the reason why I found it extremely exhausting to host a show at Global Village during the weekend, sleep such a delightful, peaceful sleep, but had to wake up myself grudgingly to go to Microsoft the next morning. But there were two different parts of my brain that were working. Or two different parts of my entire body. So maybe it was my brain working because there is a survival that's attached to it. And then there's a heart which is so satisfied after a show. And you know that you want to do more of it, but you just can't do it independently living in the place that you are.
What makes someone sleep peacefully at night when they do something and not something else? When you were young, you wanted to go to Bombay, but आपकी mom ने बोला नहीं, Bombay safe नहीं है, पहले Dubai चले जाओ. Then in Dubai, you made a plan, जब 10 लाख आ जाएंगे, then फिर मैं Bombay जाने वाली हूँ. You did a SWOT analysis. You decided कि 10 लाख नहीं है फिर भी मैं Bombay, I'm going to go. So what makes people naturally lean towards places, industries, certain type of professions that make them sleep peacefully at night? You have to be born with this, or does this get nurtured over time?
I think we all have a deep inner voice inside ourselves. I think my inner voice screams either satisfaction or frustration. I'd like to spend less time in places of frustration. I'd like to spend more time in satisfaction. And I think the quest of figuring what you want to do begins with figuring who you are. And I think like just finding out, like, and it's not that complicated. We're not complicated people. No, yeah. I think human beings would know what works for them and what doesn't. Like, for example, there's this brilliant thing I discovered like recently called the human design. All right. And the human design tells you what you are, how you are. Like, you know, it's like a proper flowchart kind of a diagram, which has like a triangle, a square, you know, and it's like giving you all your chakras and stuff like that based on the date you were born, the time you were born. And see, I didn't go too much into it because I was so focused on me. All right. But like basically, human design says you are either a generator, a manifestor, projector, or a manifestor generator.
Okay.
Something like that. Okay. And then there could be more, but like broadly, these are the things, right? So I know I'm a generator because of, you know, how human design calculates this. And it's open to everyone, and everyone can calculate their human design.
What does that mean?
It tells you basically whether you're aligned or misaligned. So what are the things that, like, that's where I learned satisfaction and frustration for me. And it's as simple as that. Do I want to like be in a situation where I'm aligned as much as possible? Because it's not possible that, you know, while driving, you won't miss a left or a right. But do I still know in which direction I want to go? So can I peacefully, even if I've missed the exit, go further, take a U-turn, come back and get back on the highway where I need to
That's
go?
a generator?
That's a generator. So just to be aware of that. And I think we all have that, and we somehow think, oh no, life is so complicated. And I feel up to the age of like 20, 27, 30, you're still like being shaped, right? And then you finally somehow wake up one morning on your 30th birthday and you go like, no, dude, I'm kind of interested and invested in self-inquiry. I don't know. It happened to me. And I was very interested in all the experiences, and I wanted to do them with a more consciousness attached to it. Like, why do I
More
go
intent.
dive? Yeah, more intent, right? And now that I'm in my 40s, I feel like, wow, all those things that I have done and explored, I can integrate now in my life. So I don't know if these things come to you because you're born with it. Like, for example, I watched this movie Soul, and it's like my favoriteest movie of all times, right? And Soul talks about how there is a place called, so there's a place called the Great Beyond, and then there's a place called the Great Before. All right. And there are souls everywhere. And these are new souls. And souls go to like these little buildings that have, oh, you are outgoing, you are this, you are that. And this other soul who's come in there says, what? Like, this is where you make personalities? And they're like, what? You thought people were just born with them? No, they actually choose them. I think we choose our personalities before we come into this life. And then when we feel we're not doing justice to it, your inside starts to do the freaking dance, man. Honor the dance, listen to it, and move direction. We're not rocks. You know, we're the river. We should be able to like crack into those rocks and design something for ourselves. I feel that is like what we're all trying to achieve as human beings, or at least that's my goal in life. And it's fun. And I get to do it creatively. I get to leave stories behind. I get to associate myself with stories I believe in. I get to tell stories that I love, that have shaped me. I think stories have the power to shift things in us. And it does not have to be your story. Anyone's story can shift something in you.
Let's honor the dance. I love it. In that spirit, let's start our masterclass.
Let's do
ऐसा
oof.
समझ लीजिए, yeah, this is the entry. ऐसा समझ लीजिए कि मैं एक स्टूडेंट हूँ.
Okay.
मैं आज आपके पास आया हूँ. You give me a class into all these things that you do so well.
Okay.
So first, I want to start by talking about hosting, MCing. Let's say you're teaching it to a classroom, how to be a good MC. Do you have a playbook, a methodology in place, guidelines that I can start implementing if I want to be a good MC?
One of the biggest fears in the universe for people is public speaking. So I feel like facing your fears becomes the first step for public speaking or hosting.
How do you do that?
For me, it started very young. So it started in a personality development program where I stood in front of 13 children and I flipped calendars to talk about volcanoes or different countries. And that also became an insight into what I was talking about. So I feel if you want to be a host, the first step that you need to take is try to have knowledge about what you want to do. So try to immerse yourself in some knowledge. Like anything that excites you should be followed up by curiosity. Oh, can I start? Like, for example, when I started writing a book, I started reading biographies to see which voice fits better for me. I didn't even know what was my voice writing. So then, can I find different biographies to like? So similarly with
Did you find
hosting,
Which voice fit yours?
I really, really loved Abhi Yaar. Tina Fey. I loved. And then I also loved Neil Patrick Harrison, no?
Neil Patrick Harris, yeah.
Correct, no? So his book also was fascinating. So most of his book was fascinating, his biography. It was like, it's a tiny book, or it's like 300 pages. But literally at the end of every chapter, it's like, if you want to know about this, go to page number 13. If you want to know about this, go to page number 30.
Like Goosebumps, this was
Yeah.
build your own adventure.
And he made that. And I thought that was a very interesting way to make a book as well. I thought it was fascinating. But then I just went non-linear in my story.
But took the style, took the tone.
I don't think anything is like my create किया है.
नहीं?
वो सिर्फ भगवान बोल सकते हैं और हम भगवान को नहीं देखे. Okay. There is nothing called, oh wow, I created this for the first time. It has always existed, boss. Before you knew of its existence. Be prepared to be surprised. An idea has always existed. You just mold the idea. And I think it's amazing because through creativity, we have so many people who like go sideways. It's fun. So coming back to like how to be a good host, be curious. Very important. Build your word bank. I remember for the longest time, what a wonderful evening. What a magnificent evening then it became. What a marvelous evening. Like build other vocabulary, It helps. It makes you do interesting jobs. You don't have to make your job boring ever. At the end of the day, it always becomes a job. But you're able to like tickle the passion in it and keep it alive when you're doing new things with it. Within the same lines. Like very rarely can you start like coloring out of the lines in a hosting gig. It's corporate or it's like ladki ka mama, ladki ka chacha, like private events, right? But if you know how to bring in the flavor and bring in yourself and color still within those lines, I think you'll make it that exciting for you. And then the longevity doesn't matter. You can do it for 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. You can do it for however long. Sustainability of hosting as a career or any creative career, please stop saying the market is like this.
उसका मतलब?
मतलब है ही नहीं कुछ. Don't listen to people and be like, yeah, this is difficult because ऐसा ही होता है. I remember constantly being asked to send like options of my clothes that I would wear. It would irk me all the time. Why you don't ask boys?
They just asked to wear a tuxedo or something, or suit.
Yeah, wear blue suit.
Yeah.
How many options you'll give him? Blue is our color, wear a suit. Like, but for us, it's like lehenga, this one, that one. So they want to know how short or long my dress is. And I'm like, why are you guys sitting in a boardroom like making decisions on what clothes I'll wear? And I knew it was very difficult, but I couldn't fight it to change it. I changed it wherever I could. Like I'll push back wherever I could. But then I hired a stylist. Do you understand? So if that's the market norm, great, I'll change the way I work around the market norm. Then it doesn't remain the same. I change my reality. I change my occurrence. I change my stand. So wherever you can, be that person who takes that effort to change what is not okay with you rather than saying, oh, this is not okay across the board.
Do you have a process before the event, like to pep yourself up? Some routine that you follow?
No, now I've become very comfortable. I told you, I used to enter my house and say, good evening, ladies and
Always
gentlemen.
hosting only.
I was always hosting. Like I've always said this, like you can wake me up from my sleep and I used to be like, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Like I was obsessed with hosting. I loved it. And I still love it because it's the one place I can be me entirely. I'm not playing a character there. I'm me. And I think the first thing to be a host is to overcome your fear of people seeing you. You are being seen. And it's a lot of fun. And you need to learn how to, generate that feeling from inside that I'm okay being seen. That is step 101. And then you can build everything around the craft. Everything around your craft is buildable. But that knowing needs to come from you, from inside. I remember reading like the back of shampoo boxes, like the bottles, because it would help me like twist my tongue around.
Vocal exercises.
Yeah. I used to do that while I was in the shower. And who taught me that? Years ago on like a space where we didn't have podcasts. I don't know, some place. I heard Nikhil Chinnappa say this. And that's how I went and I took shampoo bottles to read. And no reading is big or small. Read, build vocabulary, be passionate of saying the same. Like in my personality development class, we would take like this and say, give me 50 things that this looks like. So you're constantly challenging your mind. Like this could be a straw holder. This could be a roof. This could be a car.
Improv exercises.
Just keep doing that with yourself. It's a fantastic way to build things that you don't know when you'll use.
A lot of benefits that not just apply to people who want to become a host or an MC, but also in life in general. Like you said, public speaking, confidence boosting, conversations. I'm sure there are a lot of transferable skills. Next lesson in class that you're teaching me is acting 101. Have you noticed a difference for people who lived through so much life, have so many different lived experiences? You've sold cookies in a mall in Sharjah. You performed for a magician, K.S. Ramesh as well. You've studied finance and marketing. You worked in IT. If you have so many different experiences, so many different places, so many adventures that you expose yourself to, do you have a different approach towards acting as compared to someone who's taken a more conventional path, has gone to acting school and directly come on set?
I think the biggest difference between students of the craft and me would be their vocabulary, their language. Like they know camera angles.
The theory.
They know, they have a bank of movies. They can connect many dots. Like for them, maybe finding novelty in something that they really need to see something novel to see it for the first time. Like for example, I watched Lion King, the animated movie, for the first time as a fully grown adult in 2022. And the novelty of watching it for the first time and not judging it. कि ये हो सकता था, वो हो सकता था, ये हो सकता था. Like I think there is a big playground. Like so much like space for me to play that everything feels novel to me. And I wish I had direction. So now I learn that direction when I go to like an acting class, or I learn how to funnel that crazy. But I think as a student of the craft, one, you only do it if you have the passion, right? Like nobody goes and like finds themselves in a acting school if they truly didn't want to be an actor. And I think some of our finest actors are from film schools and drama schools, right? In fact, I've had the opportunity to work with actors in the West, and every single one of them, even the secondary cast, has been to drama school. So there's a level of craft. And then it's really interesting, like when you watch like these really experienced thespians, you know, and masters of the craft look at each other perform and they're like, oh, Udar now, he never masked that technique. Like they go into that finer details. And I think without learning the craft or in the process of learning the craft, I'm still able to play with a lot more colors. Like it's like a child for me. And it's fascinating because I'm able to tell so many stories and stuff like that. I'm learning on the job. So it's just two different experiences. I wouldn't want to trade my life for that experience. And I'm sure they wouldn't want to trade their life for my selling cookies and being accountant, you know. I think they all come with its own merits. But education in any field is exciting. It should be exciting. Whether it's robotics or whether it is
Random field.
or AI. Like as far as you have curiosity, then you're always able to build. Traveling helps. Like for example, I was speaking to Adarsh Gaurav just yesterday, and he's in the Northeast spending time with tribals while he's shooting for a show. And it's fascinating when you're discovering things about yourself through travel. You're able to meet people so that one day you can play people. Your heart becomes so much open to stories. I'm telling you, like, stories have a big impact on you. And then you're forming characters. Like I've heard that no mother is the same mother, no? I can play so many different kinds of mother. I can play so many different kinds of wife. I can play so many different kinds of cop. I should get gold medal. I've done so many cop roles.
You use stories from your life in your roles? You should channel it.
I'm sure while I'm building my character, I'm thinking of people and situations and I'm learning how to use tools to build that. You know, I'm not going like a islander, like, you know, breaking trees down to build a hut. I have my electricity, I have my toolkit, I have my saw. So now I'm learning how to apply that every time. Like, I think some of the biggest actors we know are people who are backed up by acting coaches all the time. They have coaches to teach them about every character. Like Nicole Kidman has an acting coach, Jude Law has an acting coach. So I feel like you're never behind schedule when it comes to education. You can always learn and be curious to build something together with the help of a coach, because you always learn something new about yourself. Be open to learning at all points in time. And that helps in your career.
Have you felt if you live all these different experiences, it also helps you build these extracurriculars, endurance, resolve, resilience? Why I say this is because I don't think every junior artist who had to wake up at 5:30 and skip breakfast, then had to wait till 2 p.m. till bhai comes and says lunch karenge, would have kept listening to SP Balasubramaniam to pump themselves up, right? So there's a difference there. Right? You build that resolve.
Yeah. Who told you that story?
My unpaid interns. Or the ability to do SWOT analysis in that situation, right?
Yeah. I did that on like, imagine like on a Manikish like thing. I had gone to eat Manikish in...
Where?
In...
This is important.
Arey yaar, what is it? In
Al Malla?
Satwa.
Al
Yeah,
Malla.
Al Malla.
Man,
I love Al Malla Manikish, eh? It's amazing.
do they know that they sparked this whole career change?
No, I don't think they know. They should know.
And they should sponsor it.
Wallahi.
Yeah. Product placement.
Are you there in Dubai on the 6th?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm coming. We'll go to Al Malla.
Al Malla.
Chal, let's do it.
All big live decisions happen at the, what is it, the wrapper you used? Or?
No, there was like, you know how they write the order, right? So it was a tailoring thing from like one of those pamphlets, like the pamphlets of flyers. We had cut, and then I just took one bunch and started writing. Strengths, weakness.
One of the biggest breaks of your life was playing this character, Cuckoo, on this show. Me also heard of Sacred Games. And it was so interesting to read about the making of that character. I love these things. I'm a geek for what goes on behind the scenes. And you said that after you bumped into Swanan Kirikire and Ankur Tiwari at the bagel shop in Bandra, you were given the opportunity to audition for Cuckoo. And you were only told it's a transgender character. The first audition you went max stereotypical for the character, didn't back the part, knew you didn't get it.
Yeah.
Then Anurag Kashyap messaged you and he gave you a few more hints, a bit more direction. So you went, and this time you auditioned with the scene where Nawazuddin Siddiqui is lying on your arm and saying, Cuckoo ka jadoo kya hai? And you walked out knowing ki you had backed the role. So if you're now teaching this in a classroom, what did you do the first time? How did you play the character? What changes did you make? And then how did you make those changes in a way that you knew ki role is mine, even when you walked out of the audition?
Very difficult question.
It's only getting harder, unfortunately.
I don't know, yeah. I think you know when you have effed up faster than you know when you've got it, to be honest. Like, I'm pretty good on that. Like, I am king of failures, okay? I love failing. I know when I failed.
Okay.
But that makes it exciting for me. I won't sit and like beat myself up and like kill myself on a failure. I knew when I had gone for that audition, I knew I had messed up. Right. I just felt like that was not right. You know when it's not right. I think there's a hum in the room. There's a little whisper. And I think maybe it's like my background of like hosting where there's instant validation. So I feel like the first time around when I didn't get that, I kind of felt like, not getting this part. Time to move on.
How were you playing it?
I was wearing a yellow skirt. I was asked to dance like Parveen Babi.
Right.
But I danced like a ruffian, drunk man instead. I'm not graceful naturally. I have to be graceful.
So what did you change next time? What were you intentional about?
I also had more meaningful dialogues. I also had, I think, a better reader, like a more involved co-actor at this point. And it was a very quiet, I don't know, something changed. Or maybe my own need to see that, what's it called? That I needed it. And you don't get many second chances. Now you've got a second chance. Don't fuck this one up. Maybe that was it too. Like, so I just wanted to go. And I also think I had a chat with Anurag, like where he told me that this is a real person. And there was more like information about how she's a diva and stuff like that. So I think that inner confidence was there. And I don't know what Anurag saw. You never know what they are looking for when you are performing, because in your mind, you're performing the best of what you know. Because everyone's working off like 2 scenes out of like 400 pages, right? So 4 pages, literally. So then how do you give justice to that? Like how do you make that, how do you make those 2 scenes so close to you that they see you in that character, right? So I think sometimes it's a hit and a miss. But as most actors say, and I would like to say this again as well, there is a lot of joy in testing. There's a lot of joy in auditions because you get to play the same thing in many different ways. So I think when I got the chance to play it again, I didn't miss that opportunity. I just wanted to play it and then see ke kya hota hai.
You mentioned you had a more involved co-actor. You've
Ho
said,
sakta hai.
you've said in the past that when you were working with Nawazuddin Siddiqui, it felt like an interaction, like a partnership. Every time you gave him suggestions, he listened. There was some form of dialogue happening, some interplay. Often people approach acting like this solo adventure that you're going on. I need to introspect, go deep inside, lock myself in a room, write a diary. But how much of it is actually play, collaboration? How much of having an actor that's as good how much does that enhance your own performance?
Having a co-actor that gives you and you can receive from, and also to be received, like in the place where you can receive. It's magic. And I found that. I've been very fortunate to find that in so many co-actors. I found that in Saif Ali Khan. I found that in Nawazuddin Siddiqui. I found that in Mohammad Zishan Ayub. Sometimes I forget, like how many wonderful people I've had the opportunity to work with. So bizarre. Brunal Thakur, Deepak Dobriyal gives so much and allows you to learn so much. What an opportunity during Son of Sardar. I happened to work so closely with Deepak Dobriyal.
What does he do? How does he give so much?
He's immersed in the craft. He loves it. He's a very simple man. He says experience everything. He's like, live like just now, this moment, everything. Isko haath lagao. Feel this. Feel everything. Feel it like the way your character would feel it. Feel it. Live it. And then he's so present that he can't disengage from, because learning is flowing, right? So when it's overflowing, you're just taking it. It's just like, oh, let me take some, let me absorb some, let me learn some. I had so much fun working with Deepak Dobriyal. Like, it's brilliant to see a Bhumi Pednekar take the lines and then figure what she wants to do with these lines. I find it fascinating. I think there are actors today who know that it's just that good looks are not going to take them too far. And it's really the craft, because the audience is getting wise. Like how I have started watching Lion King in 2022. There are so many people who are watching world cinema today. We have something to be responsible for the way we tell. And people somehow know ye good acting hai, ye bad acting hai. How do they know? They didn't go to school. But they know. So isn't it better if you know? Isn't it better if you're curious? You really are doing one thing in your life. Why? Because you love it. I'm telling you, no one comes and becomes an actor because they have nothing else in the world to do. You become an actor because you don't want to do anything else in the world. So lead the way like that, nah. Then don't lead from garibi of the mind. Understand? Like, dil khol ke jiyo, yaar. Like, what fun I had working with Sanjay Mishra in Son of Sardar. I'm very lucky, yaar. I'm very fortunate. It's amazing. And I think help is available. And you don't have to be in physical presence of the help. I don't think that Ekalavya went and sat in front of Dronacharya and said, if you don't... But he learned, no, from afar. He learned everything that... Your teachers are there, man. When the student appears, like when the student is ready, the master appears. Be ready. Master will come. And I'm telling you, I've been fascinated by how my first acting teacher was Saurabh Sachdeva. I learned like 2 weeks ago that Saurabh sir's first Netflix like debut was Sacred Games as well. Imagine, he plays Isa and I got to share like scenes with my teacher. Who sets you up for that? And my teacher and I got to like create this magic together. It's mad to think of it. Be prepared to like learn from what you don't know. Be okay and open to say I don't know. Very big it is. You can't mold a rock, boss. You can't like, I can only maybe break or cut this Lego. I can't mold this Lego. I can mold Play-Doh.
Your colleague Dan McPherson had
I
audition.
love Danny boy.
He told me at some point you would start believing that you were born for a role. And then we spoke about the audition for Foundation, audition for Sacred Games. All of them saw something in you that even if the audition didn't go that well, they were able to call you back. There's an interesting story that you have written in the book, which is when you had the big scene with Nawazuddin. Anurag and Nawaz were sitting with you reading through lines. Then he took your paper and he said, "Ab tu bas sun." And he told you the story of Cuckoo. And the moment you started crying, he said, "Nobody talked to her. Now I'll see her directly on set." What was happening here? Is he just, if you're born to play this role, is he just awakening that part of you? What is the exercise that's being conducted here that you could go on and play that role, play that scene?
I think he was teaching me acting 101 at that point. He didn't want me to be in my head. He wanted me to be in my heart. He wanted me to be in my body at that point.
That's the secret.
That's the secret. And I remember him saying this so beautifully to me. He said, we don't have to open any doors. We'll just open window. We'll feel the fresh air. And that was that, literally, like that little window was open. We finished the job and we closed the window, being respectful to the inner world. We weren't going there to like, that's what we do when we go to like sacred places, which are very deep inside. You're inside, your inner world is extremely sacred. So you have to be very gentle with it. You go in, you respectfully see, you say, okay, I got what I wanted. You come out, respectfully close the door and leave. Don't go and like destroy things over there. And you know what I mean? Like when people say, I accessed my inner life. I don't need to do that. I don't have to kill people. No, you don't. You go, you observe, be kind, be respectful to that space. Come back, go back to your life. And be thankful that you have that space to explore. Or you have, like my mom always used to say that you don't have to make every mistake. You can learn from other people's mistakes, which is true. Why do you have to make every mistake in the world? Why do you have to make every mistake in the world? I've just learned that my process of learning is making mistakes. I think it works for me. So I'm not afraid.
What I find fascinating, I've been obsessed with this question for a few years, which is what is the invisible? What is the thing that you don't see as compared to what's shown to you? And what was so interesting is the number of times he made you do multiple takes for that one scene. ये असली acting होती है, right? Because as an audience, मुझे क्या पता कि this is the 9th take or the 10th take or the 12th take, right? But you have to put in that much unbelievable. You have to put in that much honesty and raw emotion in every scene because you might end up using the 12th take.
Even you don't have an idea. That's when you realize that acting is a director's medium. When the director is happy, he knows what he's making. Do you trust your director enough to give him what he wants? Like, for example, when I was working with Saif, he's such a sorted actor. He's been working again, like, through the time of film, right? Where you didn't have the opportunity to say, ke ek aur, one more, I want to do. Tabhi bhi karte the, exactly. But somehow, because he's got that thing, he would build and build and build. And he knows if it's going to be the 19th take or the 21st take. But he knows. And it'll be surprising that it will be the 19th or the 21st that will make it to the edit because that's how sure you are in the process of filmmaking. And he's been a part of so many projects, correct? I'm still new. I can't sit around there going like, mujhe pata hai. Mereko nahi pata hai. But are you happy with what we've got? That's when I go like, oh, can I give you one more? But first, it's director's medium. The director should be happy. They should be happy with what they get. And I think as an actor, it's your job to make it comfortable for them to have that opportunity to take that shot as many times as they feel like they need to. Also, it's a technical job. Sometimes you will miss. Sometimes it's not your fault. It's not your acting or your lines. Sometimes you missed focus. हो सकता है ना? Sometimes light went off. It's not your fault. So then you can't make it about yourself. What are you, some divine person? No, you're actor, boss. Go there and do your job. I think that's the way I approach it.
I also want to start introducing the next chapter.
Wow.
Which is another thing you did really well, which is write a book about your life and about your story, especially difficult parts about your childhood, whether relationship with parents, bullying, sexual abuse, or abortion. The people at Commune say, never tell a story until you have moved on from it. But you've said that writing this story made you move on from it. It was like removing a bag that was holding you back. It was a cathartic experience. On many instances, you've said that you went to bed with this unexplored emotion or a thought, and when you woke up, you were ready to pen it down. So how do you look back on this experience? For people who have been in similar situations, who've gone through maybe something similar, what was this process like? What advice can you give them for how they can move on from it, heal from such situations?
It's true that you should never tell a story until you're over it. So I spent a lot of time like going to therapy and learning from other modalities about myself. Like that's when I was able to narrow down to those, say, 26 chapters that are there in the book, which were chapters that mattered and meant something to me. And when you read the book, you'll realize, or you may see that every chapter is non-linear. So it's not like, oh, this is me as an adult and that is me as a child. But like the child in me still exists as an adult. And that's how I'm still making some decisions. And then there is like an adult was there in the child I was, trying to like safeguard certain situations just to keep the peace. But to be able to realize that, it took me a lot of time. So when I did write the book, it felt like I was carrying this bag unnecessarily. Big weight like on my back, right? But it was resolved. I knew they were rocks. I knew the rocks from the sand. And I was pretty clear of it. So it was easy for me to remove it, open it, air it. Now it's yours. I don't have to carry all this weight. I choose not. Because at some point we have to take that heavy bag of stories that we tell ourselves, place it down, and continue with the journey ahead, boss. Who said you have to carry this burden for the rest of your life? Put it down whenever you want to. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. I know I make it sound easy. And I went through a lot. I went through therapies, through uncomfortable conversations, to accepting myself. But it's a quest. What do I want to know so much about the other person and the world around me when I can't know what is happening inside the world? Like inside my own world. What's the point? मैं क्या उखाड़ लिया लाइफ में? About learning about everything. मुझे सब पता है. दुनिया के बारे में पता है. मुझे robotics के बारे में पता है.
Why attack poor
मेरे को
robotics?
AI के बारे में पता है. मेरे को खाने के बारे में पता है. मेरे को पता है ये. तुमको 40 टाइप का मशरूम पता है. तुम्हारा अंदर क्या चल रहा है पता नहीं है. What the hell, dude? So I feel like for me, my quest has been to like find out a lot about myself. It's been an exciting ride, sometimes uncomfortable. And I'll tell you this. Growth is uncomfortable. You should be okay with that. It's bizarre, right, that we started with this conversation. I said I get really uneasy when I'm too comfortable. So if you're thinking you're being uncomfortable, if you're feeling that discomfort, good. You're going to become someone you didn't recognize or you didn't see in yourself. That's not becoming a better version of yourself. It's only unwrapping the versions that exist in yourself. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense.
It all makes sense.
I think it makes too much sense.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it makes too much sense.
Why do you say I think it doesn't make sense? Of course it makes so much sense.
I don't know who's listening to this podcast. I hope
Amitabh
they don't
Bachchan
think I'm
is
like,
listening. No. It's such a fine line to find because you've said so many times that all your experience, you don't regret anything. It's built who you are. You become the person. You built all this strength and this power from your experiences. But of course, we don't wish this on anyone as well. So it's such a dicey place because obviously you don't want anyone to go through this. But the fact that you've gone through this has made you...
we are all the products and the results of the challenges that we go through. It's not about comparing my challenge to yours, but just to know how I overcame my challenges. I've had a volatile growth chart, right? It's not been linear for me at all. But I look at it now and I at least understand why I am the way I am. And I'm not going about expecting the world to accommodate who I am. Don't accommodate me. Don't tolerate me. But I know I'm palatable enough for the world. I care enough. I'm a kind person. And I try to do my best to build a better universe around me through the work that I do. It's very easy for us to say, मैं ऐसा ही है, मैं नहीं बदलेगा. But बदल के तो देखो. अपने अंदर का कुछ बदल के देखो. It's that premium version of yourself. वरना ad सुनते रहो. Does that analogy make sense to you?
मैं ad क्यों सुनता रहा हूँ?
It's like uploading the premium version of yourself. Otherwise, you're going to constantly be selling insurance ka ad, jute ka ad, motor gaadi ka ad. Stop it. It's bothering your experience of listening to the music, and life is a beautiful music. Just listen to your song. Do the dance. And you will reach that rhythm at some point. But more importantly, you will know when you are off rhythm. Like you listen to these, like you watch these musicians who've been like practicing and performing for years and years and years, right? And or anyone who knows. Someone goes off tune and they'll go like this. Now imagine you had that power with yourself. Every time you went off rhythm, you went like this. Recognized when you went back to the right. You go back to your own self. It's your music, it's your rhythm. You know when you're going off tune. Come back to yourself. It's not that bad. But till you learn, you will go ding dong. You go like that, no problem. It's okay.
Taking notes, you will go ding dong. Garibi of
I'm
the
like
mind
that,
you
guys.
use.
See,
I
I
like it.
don't have big words and theories from XYZ books and like Walt Whitman.
The ding dong theory.
I'm telling you.
Patented now.
It's amazing, bro.
I like it.
I like it. It's easy to explain and
Earlier
understand.
you used Garibi of the mind. I've noted all this. As your student,
I like Garibi of the Mind.
आज
It's
घर
so
जाके मैं
good.
revise करूँगा Garibi of the mind, the ding dong theory. All of that is being noted down. I want to tie this with our previous chapter.
I want to tie this with a Rakhi.
Sure.
No.
About acting. There's two schools of thought on this. People are often fighting about if you have some tragedy in your life or some trauma, do you channel that in your acting? And this goes all the way back to Lee Strasberg, Stella Adler. There's a whole school of thought that says use whatever emotions or experiences you've been through in life and try to channel that in the art you're creating. And there's another school that says, no, that's exploitative, that's morbid, don't ever do that. Is this something you face, that you've gone through so much, seen so many experiences? Should I use my own personal experiences in these roles that I'm playing, or I should just leave everything to imagination?
I think the power of imagination is banging. Not everyone knows how to use it. It's all a muscle. Like even learning how to access your old emotions, you can't keep like, see, if I keep accessing the same emotion, right? Like for example, for the lack of a better example, okay, my neighbor died. It hurt me a lot. But I know I can cry when I think of my dead neighbor. Right? How many times I'll kill that man here? He's already dead. At some point that loses its novelty. But how is it possible that I go into a museum and I'm never surprised? Like I'm never, what is it called? I'm never not stunned or surprised by looking at that creativity because I respect it enough. मेरे को पता है कि मैं कभी नहीं कर पाएगा life में वो. And that's the beauty of even acting. You have to access the emotion through different ways. Not the same story, not the same access. And you know, you don't deplete that. You need to fill yourself up with more and more experiences so then you don't feel like. Also, don't try to make your character exactly like you. Always make it more or less than you. You're going to be the person who's taking this journey, right? Not every character. See, every character will have something that is close to you as a person. Trust me.
There are parts of you.
100%. Now, those parts of you, right? Don't try to make it you. Make it right. Try to make them more than you or less than you. Play on that equalizer. That's in your hand. So you understand what emotion where you can take it and go. And I think masters of different schools and the people we theorize and the people we learn from are people who have done this after years and years and years of practice. So you don't learn theory and go and once you do it, you have to do it again and again. So whatever your process is, you are not going to become the master of it by doing it once. You'll have to do it one too many times. Only then do you feel that now I'm comfortable doing this. Ab kuch naya karte hain. So like I'm done taking from my personal life. Ab main दूसरों का life से लेगा. अब मैं imagination में जाएगा. इसके, but have those tools ready. Learn from everyone. You will only apply what you need to apply. At that point. It's good to have like so many colors. So you can paint with whatever color you want. Why restrict yourself saying this is right and this is wrong? It's not right or wrong.
I've taken a lot of notes in my class today. There's a famous line that's always asked at Mumbai parties, which is "What's next?" And you've started saying, "Working on my inner peace."
And leave.
I'm happy you have done this because you've given so many great insights as my teacher, as you were giving the masterclass today. So this has been fantastic. I am grateful. Before we go into the last few closing questions, I would love to know ये क्या masterpiece बनाया आपने Lego के साथ?
I don't know. First of all, I really loved all the little colors that you had. You have like dark purple, navy blue, light blue, aqua blue.
What is the author implying with blue?
लेखक कुछ नहीं कहना चाह रहे. For a moment, it looked like Antilla, but it also just looks like a skyscraper. And as you know, there has been like a stay on building buildings right now in Bandra, and 800 buildings have like stopped. 800 or 1,000 buildings have stopped construction. Hence, we have the blue skies in Mumbai right now.
Wow, love it.
So I made a building here.
You were missing some skyscrapers in your life.
No, Ray, I think I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm missing the mountains in my life. I'm always missing the mountains and the expanse of nature in my life. I like.
और ये क्या है? ये छोटा सा.
That is yours.
Yeah, what do you think it is?
Have you made it with an intention? I like all these arched thingies and everything. Is it supposed to look like something?
You tell me.
It looks like a science. It looks like a robotic lab.
Robotics is following me.
This is the place where they have like the secrets.
My past keeps haunting me.
Yeah, this guy right here. And this is like when like the wrong button goes off here, then this guy like starts like, you know that Mr. India man? Starts beeping. Yeah. This yeah. See, you can you
Exactly
imagine
what I was
it.
building. This was the intent and you nailed it. वो Mr. India में वो perfect.
Yeah, Mr. India.
That's it. I like it. Sound effects also I'll put right in there. Last few questions as we wrap up. What are some books, movies, role models that have strongly inspired you? Recommendations चाहिए मुझे.
I think every human being inspires me every day, and I don't even say that lightly because it's true, right? You don't care enough about people who are so close to you because you have something to learn from everyone. And I think human beings are constantly growing and evolving, and they only do that through mistakes. Let's be clear. So I personally don't believe in idols. I think everyone's a human being trying to do their best at that time. And I've had fascinating human beings who have inspired the way I think or grow, or the virtues or the belief systems that I, instill in myself and then grow with them. My mom is one person. She's my rock. And it's really funny. The other day I said she's my rock that I stub my toe in the most. Performers internationally within our country, I think today we are such an evolving, I have such a evolving peer ecosystem, na? It's fascinating to watch. Like the kind of opportunities people are opening up for themselves. They're never just sitting down and waiting for life to just happen to them. And there are a few of them like Huma Qureshi is there, Radhika Apte, Shiba Chadda, Nidhi Bisht, who you just had a chat with, in the writer's space. I think there are incredible talents who are in the ecosystem right now. And there have always been great voices at their own time. And those voices have changed the way we looked at the art, the way we told stories, all of it. उस टाइम में जो हो सकता है ना, सबने किया है भाई. And I think that's my endeavor. कि भाई अपने टाइम में मैं जो कुछ कर सकती हूँ ना, जो भी चेंज, जो भी बोलना है, जो भी सच्चाई है, जो भी जिस तरीके से आप बोल सकते हो, बोलो, that's your contribution. And there are so many wonderful people doing such incredible characters, telling such great stories today. I'm just grateful and fortunate to be at a time. Like Rasika Duggal, Shifali Shah. There's so many people, Shayoni Gupta. There's so many people in my peers that I can be inspired by right now. I think we need to give ourselves enough credit because हमारे इस ecosystem में ना हम जो कर पा रहे हैं, I used to, like before I moved to Mumbai, my role models at that time, because that was the language I used, right? Role models. Mandira Bedi, Rakshanda Khan,
Right.
Maria Goretti,
Mini Mathur.
Minnie Mathur,
Divya Datta.
Divya Datta. Come on, yaar. Amazing human beings. I wanted to always be cool. And I think these are cool women. And they're evolving. And when I see them never stop, I'm like, क्या बात कर रहा है? मैं क्या stop करेगा? मेरा तो अभी शुरू हुआ है.
Great build up to the second last question. What would you like your legacy to be? How do you want me to remember?
I think the fear-free Kubra. Yeah. I've climbed mountains, I've rafted rivers, I've done so many things in my professional life. But I think I'm finding my way to be a pretty decent human being. And it takes a lot of fearlessness and a fear-freeness to get there. So what I do can like stay or not stay. But I think my greatest quest would have been that person who was fearless. Or phatti hai bhai. At some point, when you want to be chill. I think I do a lot of things with a lot more chill now. Ki ho jayega. Because when you're fear-free, na, you're not alone. You have someone who's guiding you. You have that faith. You don't have to do everything alone. And I think the day you realize you don't have to do everything alone, champion life. It's an amazing life. Because what we do cannot be created in isolation. Lean into people. You will see miracles happen when you lean into your support system. Have a support system. And it takes you to deconstruct yourself many times over and tell yourself that it takes just a little more effort and you will unravel that one more layer. Be patient right now with yourself. Be kind right now. Very nice. We are kind to everyone else, but we will be like disgusting to ourselves. No. First, do inside. Be selfish. Be kind to yourself first. Learn how to build your own building blocks. Build your own skyscraper. Then go and build other people's. This is my firm thing. And it takes a lot of fear, like just to be fear-free from that. So if I'm remembered that like that, it's good. Work and all is okay.
Perfect build up to the final question. I think you're going to find this very easy. What is the meaning of life? Kubra said.
The meaning of life. It's a hard thing to do, but it's a fun thing to do when you start doing it. Being joyous is the meaning of life.
Kubra, if people wish to connect with you, find out more about you, find out more about what's coming next, what is the best way to find you, connect with you?
You can always connect to me via my stories. You can connect with me with stupid jokes that I crack on Instagram. You can relate to me or the journey that I've had with, and it's really interesting. You can relate to me, not compare. You relate, very important. Through the stories, through the book or the work that I create. But yeah, you can just connect. You can reach out wherever you want, but primarily Instagram perhaps. And if I feel like it, I'll answer.
Okay. Definitely reach out and we'll see if she's feeling like it.
Did you feel I felt like catching up with you instantly? Yes or no?
Always.
See, that's how easy it is. Because it's true, right? Like we've never met, we've never spoken.
We have the Belhas and Al-Malla connection though.
Who knew? We discovered that today because we hadn't written that in the book. Do you understand? I don't think anything in life is a coincidence. The idea is being open to stuff. You can connect with anybody. Like when I was watching some of your other videos and the kind of people you've interviewed, I'm like, it takes the power of connection to just say, hey, I want to connect with you. And this is how much I know myself. And this is what I think we can do together. I think knowing yourself has a lot of merit and value. Please, मेरे को ऐसा आपका advice चाहिए. उसको connection नहीं बोलते. वो भी एक तरह का connection है. I think we are all connected here through our stories that we tell. Be the most fearless storyteller. And you'll connect with many more fearless storytellers.
I am beyond grateful that you found this inkling of a connection and said yes, because it's been a privilege. I'm honored that you were here today and I got to pick your brains. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
This is No Time. If you liked what you just watched or listened to, then please consider subscribing on YouTube, follow on Spotify, rate 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. This has been a 6-year-long experiment that is now potentially in its final year. We have constantly been told that people's attention spans are going down, that the type of content that they now want to watch are these viral clickbaity content, these 60-second reels or videos on TikTok, or gossip over a montage of Subway Surfer because that hacks the algorithm. But I believe in my heart of hearts, that's not what the people want. I'm constantly surrounded by people who crave conversations about philosophy, psychology, quantum physics, or even history. And in a way, it's the algorithm that's pushing us in a direction that we don't want to go. So this has been a losing battle, honestly. It's a fight against the algorithm. And I've constantly been losing. So I've stopped trying and hack it, create these AI-generated thumbnails or these clickbait titles or ask questions that I know will go viral or edit videos in a certain way with all these effects. I've stopped trying to do that. So the only way you can actually ensure this project survives and I can continue having conversations that I think are of value is by supporting it directly. Consider making a donation on Patreon. You can join as a YouTube member for less than $1 a month, and YouTube members get early access to all videos. If not through financial channels, then do consider sharing these episodes. Your shares are gold dust for a show of this nature. It really helps. It really helps me push past the barriers set by the algorithm. If not shares, then please consider following this channel on Instagram or Twitter, or follow me personally, or leave your likes and comments and all forms of other engagement.